Have you noticed how the moment you try to change something, life gets loud? The email goes quiet. The plan tilts. Your energy slips. If that's you, you're not broken. You're just human in a week that's doing what weeks do. I'm Jane. Welcome to Guts to Grace. Around here, we turn forced pivots into a human-sized path forward. 'Cause guts gets you started, but it's grace that carries you through. Before we dive in, I've got a free guide called The Edge of Enough. It helps you decide what's enough for you this week so you can keep moving without burning out. The link's in the description below. Let's start forward. Here's what I've noticed in my own life. Change doesn't just ask for a new plan, it stirs up a storm. A bill lands early, the kid gets sick, the inbox fills with maybe later, and inside, the noise turns up. What if this isn't the right move? What if I'm late? What if I'm not ready? When I was first navigating my pivot, I kept thinking I needed a stronger willpower switch. But it wasn't willpower. It was timing and energy, and noise all taking turns at the microphone. On the weeks I remembered that, things got gentler. I'd notice, oh, this isn't a character flaw. This is just Tuesday. And I can work with a Tuesday. Maybe that rings true for you. Maybe your energy is bright in the morning and threadbare by 2 p.m. Maybe week 1 always feels like a cliff because everything is due at once. Or maybe uncertainty pulls focus. You sit down to update the summary for your resume, and your brain offers 17 alternate careers, and a sudden urge to organize the spice drawer. That's not failure. That's a human nervous system asking for a little structure and kindness at the same time. So instead of proving yourself to the week, what if we simply work with the week? What if the plan took your real rhythm seriously, and the tone wasn't hustle harder, but let's make it easier to start? I've seen tiny shifts change the whole feel of a month. Not drama, not declarations, just the right thing, placed in the right spot, with a calmer voice in your head. If this way of thinking helps, grab The Edge of Enough. It's short and soothing, and it gives you one clear sentence to carry into the rest of the week. The link's in the description below. Okay, we've named the storm. Now let's get curious about the stories we tell inside that storm. What if the issue isn't your discipline? What if it's the time of day you're asking for it? What changes if your hardest work gets your best 15 minutes, not the leftovers? If your brain gets loud when outcomes are fuzzy, what if you gave it a page? One page to worry, on purpose, then stop. Could a tiny action be enough evidence to turn the volume down? If week 1 of the month always feels like a cliff, move a couple of things that are due at the first of the month to week 3. Would the ground feel flatter? And would you breathe differently sitting down to work? If money is the part that keeps hijacking your attention, would a 90-day bridge job feel like failure or a runway? What if predictable hours made the next right step easier to repeat? And if you had just $150 of buffer this month, which crisis would quietly not happen? If that's true, what small step creates that margin without heroics? Can you sell one possession, complete one micro task, or find one person that you can assist? You don't have to answer out loud. Let the question sit for a day. Notice which one keeps tapping your shoulder. That's your next doorway. Now that we've loosened the knot a bit, let's shift into a quieter, kinder way of moving forward. The part where change arrives in inches, not trumpets. Here's the part I wish someone had told me sooner. Change rarely arrives with trumpets. It usually arrives like this: a line on a sticky note, a mug of tea, a calendar that's a little less jagged than last month, a phone face down for 10 minutes, and your voice, steady, reading a sentence you wrote to yourself like, "Enough for this week is..." You don't have to win the whole story. You only have to narrow the path so your feet know where to land. Maybe your inbox is loud and your house is busier than you'd like. But there's a morning where the light is kind and the chair is still. That's where you start. Not because you're behind, but because this is how people like us build forward. Not with heroic bursts, but with kind repetitions. You will have days when nothing goes as planned. That doesn't erase your progress. It just means you're human in a human life. On those days, the smallest possible move still counts. A subject line drafted, a file renamed, a page opened and saved. You can always come back to the next right inch. And when the doubt gets loud, remember, you're not trying to become someone else. You're becoming more of who you already are, just with a clearer plan and a gentler pace. What about you? Which question landed hardest? Timing, energy, noise, buffer, or runway? Tell me in the comments. Your answer might be the sentence someone else needed today. If this helped you, share it with one friend who's in a pivot and needs a steadier way forward. This is Jane signing off. Thanks for spending part of your day with me. I love knowing that we're figuring this out together. You're not starting over, you're starting forward. Next up is 3 ways to steady yourself in the first 30 days after a layoff. We'll turn those early days into a calmer, more intentional plan. I'll see you there.